Hey, SMB Nation fans, I am still at Ingram 1 in Washington, D.C. just before Halloween. You're wearing orange.
I am.
Is Tiffani Bova, thank you so
much. Thank you for having me, Harry.
Well, catch a few moments to chit-chat. Today I want to talk about the book, because I did a couple books. You've now done a book called The Growth IQ. So what's the book? We have it up on screen so they know where to get it. What's the story on the book?
So the story on the book was, in my last sort of 12 or 13 years, I've spent so much time helping companies figure out what's the best way to grow.
Yeah.
And I wanted to try to modernize some of the things that have been out there in the market for a long time. And I found through patterns of lots of conversations that everyone was looking for the one thing. What's the one thing I can do to fix my business? And I realized it's not one thing.
Yeah.
Right?
I hear that one 3 times.
And so I said, okay, well, that's a great answer, but then that's not really great advice.
Yeah.
Because then they go, well, that doesn't make me feel better. And then I didn't want it to be 782 things that you need to do.
Yeah.
So 10 is digestible. And so I came up with 10 paths to growth, and then it was all about making sure you understood the context of your market, what your products are, what your services are, who your customers are, what's going on around you, and then making sure you combine the right things together and you do it in the right sequence. And so that's the sort of secret sauce of the book.
Well, so a couple questions. In just a couple days, November 1st, my company, SMB Nation, will celebrate its 19th birthday, or as I like to say, we're going into our 20th year. So I always round up.
That's right.
We've had our challenge. We've had good days, and we've had our challenges. As a media integration company based on server technology, I'll let the readers fill in the blanks. But we went through the Great Recession. We went through the pivot to cloud. We went through the revenue stall. We are just now coming out of that.
Excellent.
And part of it is I have rebranded us and taken a personal interest in marketing analytics and Power BI and some of the dashboarding. And I'm finding the people that pay me to do work, that's where it shifted, right? It's not so much about banner ads, it's more about the analytics. Now, that's my story. So your story is that during your speech, you said every company of a certain size will hit this revenue stall. Not everybody pulls out of it. Would you mind recapturing that sentiment?
Yeah, so the thought is that 2 things.
Yeah.
One, don't wait for the fire alarm to go off to know that there's a problem. And then leave the building. Make sure that you're prepared when the fire alarm goes off.
Yeah.
And you have sprinklers and fire extinguishers and an exit plan, right?
Yeah.
And so you have a plan when the alarm goes off.
Yep.
And so if you all of a sudden start to completely stall in the business and you don't have a plan to get back on track, then you find yourself watching the building burn, and then you have to rebuild the building.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have an opportunity or the assets or the capital to make that happen.
Yeah.
So why not get better at listening to the signals of the fire alarm has gone off, but when it goes off, what's our plan?
Yeah.
And so as revenue starts to potentially decline, using analytics, using a lot of the dashboards and data we now have at our fingertips.
Right, because that world changed.
Can we predict more in advance when something may in fact happen?
Well, and what I'm trying to do, so our stories align, because what I'm trying to do with the SMB Nation partners or MSPs is have them add business, it's not a use word, be the trusted business advisor, but add some of the business skills that they already know from running and owning and running a small business, but add that to their mix to provide to customers, right? So that's a journey.
Yeah, but
server side guys aren't necessarily the analytics guys.
Yeah, and so I would caution. I'm going to go back to what I said about one of the key things in the book was about context.
Okay.
And so I'm a firm believer where I don't think that's a good idea or a bad idea. Do I think it's a great idea or a not great idea? I actually don't know the answer.
Right.
And so the exercise for the SMB Nation guys, right? What they're listening is, what do your customers want you to do?
Yeah.
And then align to that, not necessarily what you want to do, what you think is sort of interesting and what excites you. You have to make sure that it aligns to what your customers want.
Yep.
Then you can say, okay, how can I do that? Can I do it? Should I do it?
It's
right?
and
so
fair
adding
point.
on top of this trusted advisor, and you go, because you should, it's like, well, yeah, maybe you should, but what do your customers actually want from you?
Yeah.
Then figure out what it is you need to build from a capability standpoint.
Well, I just looked at it far more simpler that even I can do Power BI dashboarding. So if I can do it, they can do it.
Yes.
And then a little tongue in cheek, when we hit Thursday and we turn 19, I'm thinking of a tagline, maybe just for a day, but I was going to say, we're still here. And part of your speech was about that. I mean, I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
But you were talking about the businesses that make it to their 10th birthday or their 20th birthday. It's a small number.
It is, and that actually get bigger than $5 million in revenue.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you're bigger than 5 million, like you're in the small group of companies, especially in the US, that have been able to cross that chasm, if you will, right? So congratulations to you. And now it's, how do I either make my business at 5 million more profitable?
Yeah.
Or how do I figure out, how do I double down? And I want to say I want to get to 8 or 10 million, because some people are comfortable. A $5 million business is nothing to shake a stick at, right?
Yeah,
and so at the end of the day, it's how do I make it more profitable? How do I get better being a $5 million business? And I don't mean by cutting costs. I mean by just being more efficient and effective.
Yeah. So, final question. Where might people bump into you in the next few weeks? You travel 300,000 miles. And I believe you. You travel a lot. So, you're in Ingram One in Washington, D.C. Where are you off to? Where might people see you in the next month?
Yeah, so I'm going to be in Kentucky. Then I'm going to be in Dallas.
Okay.
Then I'm going to be in San Francisco.
Okay.
Then I'm going to be in Oslo, Stockholm, London.
Oh, my.
Then it's Thanksgiving. Then I'm going to be in Sydney.
Okay, well, nice time of year.
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Yep. and then I'm going to be back for a little second, and then I'm going to go to Toronto in December, which is probably not the smartest idea.
Yeah.
And then I'm done for the year. So that's where I'm going to be. So if you're in any of those cities, please tweet me out.
Yeah, and I've included your LinkedIn profile, so you might be getting some LinkedIn requests.
Excellent.
And folks, be sure to write a custom note when you do LinkedIn. It makes such a difference. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty.
All right, thank you guys.
Yep.